Yes, sir, you're
Yes.
audible.
Okay. Understood. So this session will be all about BIM. So let me introduce myself. My name is Dinesh Goswami, and I have a total experience of 5.5 years in BIM execution and BIM implementation. So So we'll divide this session into three parts. In the first part, I'll be presenting you this presentation regarding the BIM and the Revit. In the second section, I'll show you a Revit demo kind of thing, so you can have a better idea of Revit capabilities. In the third section, you can ask. We'll keep it for Q&A, so you can ask your question or you can drop your question in the chat box. So I can answer those questions. So without any further delay, let's start. Okay, so these will be the content of the presentation. I want you to go through it so I can move on to the next slide. Okay, so what is BIM? So we are talking about BIM. So BIM, or Building Information Modeling, you must have heard so many times the BIM. So is a process of creating and managing information throughout the project cycle. So BIM is nothing but is a set of processes in which we create the information or manage the information throughout the project cycle. So BIM is a set of a process. It could be different for one organization and could be different for another, but the objective remains the same. So what is that objective? We will discuss this into the next slide. So before that, we want to know that what are the problems. So why we are implementing BIM into the construction projects. So common objective or common goals, we can say that the communication and the coordination, these are the two things that plays an important role when it comes to the project success. So if the some information is not getting communicated properly, so what will happen? It will result in time delays in the project execution, which will result in the wastage of money and the resources. So this is the main two things that cause the project delays and things like that. And that's why we are implementing them into the project. So I'll just give you an example of how BIM works. Okay, so BIM is a process, right? So while implementing BIM, let's say somebody has come on board and a project has come now. So a client wants to implement BIM into the project. So what will happen? There will be a BIM kickoff meeting where all the stakeholders will come together and sit. So there will be an architect, structural people, and the MEP people, as well as the top management will be there. So in this meeting, everything will be decided, like who will be responsible for what, and what are the goals, what are the deliverables, and what will be the these review meeting, when will be the review meeting will be held, the frequency of these meeting and the coordination meeting, things like that are decided into the BIM kickoff meeting. So once things are decided, so everybody knows who will be responsible for what. So this results in the better communication. If I know that these people will be responsible for MEP service, so I can contact them and coordinate with them easily. So this eliminates the communication problem. So after that, once we have decided these responsibilities, these deliverables, and things like that. So what happens? We document everything into a document. It's called BEP, BIM Execution Plan. So we circulate this BEP document to all the teams so they can start their work. So in the next step, what happens? All the teams start working on 3D models with the guidance of BEP. So let's say architecture will create a model of architectural elements, and the structure people will create their model. Then MEP services will create these models. So once the model has reached to a certain level, so held a meeting will be held. It will be a design coordination meeting. So where all the stakeholders will come together again and decide what all the elements are clashing with each other. Let's say there is a beam and the duct which are clashing. So the structure people will come together, and these clashes will be shown to these people, so they can identify what is causing the clashes. So we can change the design. So we can change MEP design or the structure design. Things like that can happen in that meeting. So once these clash reports are shared with respective team resolve these clashes, and we go to the next process. So once we have the all clash, let's say we have 2 to 3 or 5 to 6 design coordination meeting, and we have resolved all the clashes in the model. So what happens next? Once we have the clash-free model, we'll generate the GFCs. GFCs are nothing but good for construction drawing. Okay, and we can also create the fabrication drawing and the sub drawings, which can be executed on site. So we create, after the model is clash free, we create these drawings. So this is a process. So what happened here in the BIM process, when implementing BIM, we didn't lay a brick on site. Instead, we have whole model into the digital form. So what happens if something is, some design problem is there? Let's say, a column is clashing with some electrical equipment. So we don't have to change the design while working on site. So it's already has been, taken care in the 3D model itself. So we have saved time, we have saved money, and we have saved resources. So BIM comes handy in this process. So it saves time and things like that. So in this slide, you can go through these points. BIM provides clear roles and responsibility that we have already discussed. During the initial stage, everyone comes together and know then what will be the roles and responsibility of respective teams. It's ensure the better communication. Generally, what happens if there is no BIM implemented on a project? So different teams work in isolation. Like a structure team will be working in isolation, and architecture teams will be working. There will be not that much of coordination between the teams, because with the help of BIM, we can coordinate through that BIM model that we are creating. We are putting the information inside that model. All the elements have some information. We are generating these details. Then we are reviewing these clashes into the design coordination meeting, things like that. So BIM helps in that way. So without laying a brick, we can model all the model and we resolve all the design related issues in 3D model itself. I'll go into the next slide. So what is Revit? So I'll just give you a brief about what is Revit. So Autodesk Revit or building information modeling software. This is generally used by architects, landscape architect and structure engineer, MEP engineers, designers, and contractors. Okay, Revit is generally used to create 3D models. These 3D models are used for different types of analysis and coordination. Like I said, architecture people will make the architecture model, structure people will make the structural model. Then they coordinate with each other. If there is something there are clashes, so we resolve it. The design changes according to that. Okay, and the analysis, like energy analysis, can be done in the Revit itself, and the load analysis also can be done with the Revit robot add-in. So these things can be done within the Revit. So once these things are done, so there will be no problem during on-site execution of a project. So this is the Revit introduction. So I'll just go into the history of Revit. When was it created? So it was developed by Charles River Software, which was founded in 1997. Later, they have changed their company name to Revit Technology Corporation in 2000. After, in 2002, it was acquired by Autodesk. Now, all the Revit updates are released by Autodesk. Next slide. Okay. So Revit as a BIM tool. So why we are using Revit? There are multiple software out there which we can use, like ArchiCAD is there, so many things like that. But for BIM process, Revit is the most widely 3D modeling software that we're using because of its capabilities. It can hold the information, then we can extract these information into the multiple formats. That's why we are using and it has so many utilities, and we can work in cloud as well. Like you must have heard about the BIM 360 Collaborate, BIM 360 Design. It's a cloud platform, and all the if like say our client is from US and they want us to work on some certain elements or some certain discipline. So how can we coordinate with it? So there is a cloud platform called BIM 360 Collaborate Pro. So with that feature, we can we can host the project into the cloud and upload all the models into the cloud. So everyone all around the world can access those models. So Revit is giving that opportunity to all the stakeholders in the industry. So why Revit is the best BIM tool, as we can say. So Revit helps in generating data-rich 3D models, as we have already discussed this. So we create 3D models in Revit. How Revit works? Revit has few elements like wall will be there, windows will be there, and doors will be there, columns will be there. These are all elements, and these each element stores some information in it. Like for window, what will be the width of window? What will be the finishes of that window? What will be the size of glass panel used inside the window? And if you are talking about the wall, what are the finishes inside the wall? So these all information can be stored inside the elements. So we have the data-rich 3D model that we can use for generating GFCs, generating schedules, things like that. Also, Revit helps in design coordination between different disciplines. So architecture people will create the architecture model, and then MEP people will create a MEP model. They can coordinate it and find the clashes what are there, so they can change their design. So it helps in design coordination. So Revit helps in visualization with the help of renders and walkthrough. Revit has a capability, inbuilt capability, which can produce renders and walkthroughs. I'll show you these a few images in upcoming slides, so you can understand it better. What are the Revit capabilities in terms of renders and walkthroughs? Revit helps in generating accurate schedules. Once we have the 3D models, all the elements are placed, walls, doors, columns, and things like that. We can generate a schedule. How many columns are placed, what is the concrete volume in each column. So we can calculate all these things and go into the cost estimation of phase. Revit supports multiple file types for interoperability between other software. What happens sometimes client doesn't have a client is giving a project and they don't have the Revit. So Revit can extract these model into multiple formats, like IFC is there, international format. So IFC is there, then next is DWGs are there for AutoCAD. So we can extract these models into these formats, so client can see it easily if even they don't have the Revit subscription. A vast content library for Revit platform makes Revit modeling easy. So there are multiple resources for Revit contents. So these contents are nothing but the elements, like I said. So how we build a 3D model, models are being built with the help of these elements. So there are multiple websites from where we can get the content, these element window families and things like that, or we can also create these things inside the Revit in the family editor. This was the Revit as a BIM tool, why we are using Revit. I'll show you these images. These are the Revit reference images. Like I said, data rich element. So let's say this is the wall, and you can see it has the core structure and the exterior finish and the interior finish. So we can fill these data, we can put the material in it, we can show the wraps, if it's wrapping or not, is it structural material or not. So once this information is given to this element, we can schedule it, we can extract the material takeoff schedules also from this. So this is one example what kept in the how Revit can generate and hold information inside these elements. In the second image, you can see we can generate the Revit schedules. It was a project from facade project where we use the glasses. So we have to extracted these quantities of glasses. It's a simple. It's in the ground floor. So you can see. So we can extract the how many glass panels have been used, what are their types, if there is a description that we can also extract. And these schedules inside Revit can also be extracted into the other format like text format, CSV formats like that. This is the render, the sample image from Revit project. So you can see the capabilities of Revit render. It doesn't use any V-Ray and things like that that you can use for external render platform are there like Inkscape, Lumion. They better result, but it's not that bad. So Revit has the capacity of capabilities of creating these images and the walkthroughs. So the client can understand the better what are the things that he wants to see inside the project. And these are the few examples of plan, elevation, and the section. So you can create these beautiful plans and you can send these drawings to the execution team so they can execute the project on site properly. So these are the Revit capabilities in terms of when we are using it as a BIM tool. So it's a total package that we can have. I'll just go into the. So now we'll talk about the future of BIM in India. So why I'm talking about it, why we are using Revit and why do we need the Revit if there is no BIM in India? Okay. So it's just there are few facts that I wanted to state. By the year 2025, India is expected to have a population of 1.4 billion people will be there. By 2013, 7 billion people will live in the cities, which means cities will be double their current size. Okay. These above mentioned factors will be driving force for more housing and public transport. So when there will be need of more housing, the government has to implement BIM to reduce the cost of projects like that. Because in India, 20% of project 20 in a single project, 20% of resources gets wasted because we don't have made BIM mandatory. So this was the reason. Apart from the building new infrastructure, the existing one needs to be refurbished. So there will be more scope of it. So US, UK, UAE, China, and France, they have already implemented BIM in their respective countries, but India has not yet implemented the BIM. So there is a huge scope of BIM in India. And in regard of BIM, there will be a huge scope of Revit in India in coming days. So this was the presentation that I wanted to share with you guys. I'll just go into a Revit live demo. Just open a project. Okay, so this is the Revit interface. As you can see. Okay, so this is a German project that we have done. I'll just show you a 3D. As you can see, this is the project itself. These are the simple, basic, conceptual kind of models. But if you don't want to go into the details, what are these things that we have modeled? So with the help of our section. You can see the details that we have used. So going with that. This is a roof. Okay, so you can see it has many layers like materials. If I go into the edit, you can see the structure of it. So it has these finishes that we have used. So, and these all things can be extracted into the schedule. I'll just go into a few 3D views. These are some of the views that we have created. The structure ones with the reinforcement and things like that. And the legends. I'll show you a few schedules. Okay, this is a German project that so you won't be understanding the terminology here. This is the batten which is called the wall, concrete thing, stall and wall, steel and concrete. So this is how we are getting the information, how much concrete we have used in the project. So we can extract it. Similarly, we can have the sheets for the execution team. We can create the GFCs, things like that. See, so we can create these beautiful drawings from within the Revit. We don't need AutoCAD for that. We just have to create a model. Then we have to set few views, and we have to import, drag these views inside the sheet. So this is a different view. This will be a different view, and these are the different plans. So we can have these things. And I'll just go into the 3D model again. I'll just pick one object. I'll just pick this railing. This one. So you can see this is a table and you can fill all the information inside it. Its height, its length, its width. And you can extract this data within the schedules. You can create these windows. You can have the types, different types of windows, these things, and you can have these comments as well, mark values as well. And it will show you the things, what is the area of the this window is covering, things like that, and what is the schedule level. See from here. And these building, why we have made these conceptual building to analyze, to run the energy analysis and sun light analysis over the building. So what is blocking, how sun is getting blocked because of these buildings that we can run. So this was a simple example of Revit capabilities. Now I'll open the chat section so you can ask any queries if you have. Salma, can you hear me?
Yeah, guys, if you have any doubts or queries, you can ask now. You can unmute or you can put them in chat section also. Sir,
No.
it's better you stop screen sharing and you can directly address students.
Okay. So Revit is not free. It's it comes with a cost. There are multiple plans for Revit. So you can take the training from the skill design is also offering a BIM training, or you can learn it from anywhere you want. So it's not free, and you have to learn it from somewhere else. If you can do it by your own, that is good. But you need some guidance to get your hands on in Revit. Any any other question? Create new 3D model. Can you explain? You can you can talk. You can just unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Is there any packages? What kind of packages are for content packages, drawing packages, things like that you're asking? Okay, drawing packages. So what happens now? We create these templates. So there are title blocks inside the Revit. So we have the layout, but we have to create the model and the views. Then we have to drag these things uh, into the seeds. Then we can create these packages, GFCs, DDs, and things like that.
Sir, can you create any model for students to understand any basic model with all tools using any basic model, because they need to understand what is the application and what is the purpose of all the tools, and yeah, a simple model.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just do this process again. So once you go into the Revit, no, you can see this is the Revit, and you
Actually, sir, your screen is not visible.
1 second.
Please share the screen.
Okay, once you open this project, right, so the Revit, so you'll have these options. So model, you can open or you can create new. Families are nothing but the elements or content that you can create. And then comes the cloud platform. So I'll be creating a new project, and I'll go to the model new. Then I'll select the template file. There are few template files that you can use. This is the imperial construction. If you are working on a construction project, then if you are working on single architectural model, then structure, I'll just open the architectural model. So these are template which have the, these template has the few settings implemented inside these templates. So I'll just show you. So there will be few labels, there will be few settings, things like that, dimension, style, and things. If I go to some north elevation, so you can see there are 2 levels already here. You can delete it and you can create it from the scratch. So these are few pre settings, you can say it. If you go into the units, it was an imperial project, right? So you see these units are into the feet and fraction. You can change these things from here. So what I'll do, I'll just show you a simple, I'll just create a simple Revit model. So generally, what are the basic methods to start with the project? First, we'll create the grids. Grids are nothing but the reference line of where will be the columns placed. These are the reference for the dimensioning and things like that, placing element. I'll just create it at the 10 feet. Copy it. Similarly, I'll create the vertical grids. Copy. So now we have a grid structure, right? So what we can do, we can start with the foundation, or we can start with the columns. So I'll just start placing columns. So you can use these optional grids and things like that. This is a W-shaped column. I have to import the columns, families inside it. So as of now, I'll just use this. So if you select that add grid, so you can just drag these things and finish. Each intersection, there will be a column. Visible here, you can see it. So I'll just like these, filter things out, and change their level from level 1 to you can see it from level 1. So you can see these are the columns that I have placed, right? So I can paste wall, or I can use this pick line, just like this. So you must have used the trim command in AutoCAD if you have used. So I'll just I'm using that command in Revit. You can see we have the walls. Also we can select all and change the level of the. I want to align it to this face. I'll just so now next what I'll do, I'll just create a floor. Go to the floor. I want to create an architectural floor. These what I'll do, I'll just take these external lines and create a floor. Go to the side section. So you can see the floor has been created. And you can give the these structure kind of thing. I want to add some finishes to it. I can just add these finishes. I can say it would be 1 by 16. 1 by 16. Now you can add the materials to this floor. This ceiling. That will be. Go to the so you can see the material tile that has been assigned to the floor. So you can see it now. So now I'll place few doors and windows. These are the doors that you will place. You can see these doors have been placed. I'll just place few windows. Okay, once this is done, you can add the roof. This is a simple project. It's a simple demo. I'm just doing. Just create the roof. So you can see this what I have done and access to the top. So this all can be attached. So this is a simple model. Once this is done, I can just create two sections of my choice. Section. And I'll just create a new sheet. We have this pattern of it. So what I'll do, I'll just drag and drop here these sheets. So this way you can create these sheets and even GFCs with all the details and things like that. So this was a simple example of how we can 3D models in Revit. But we generally get the AutoCAD drawings, and on top of those AutoCAD drawings, we create these models. I don't, as of now, I don't have any AutoCAD in this my personal PC, so I won't be able to do that. So it depends, difference between the Revit architecture and structure, and which will be having more scope in future. It depends on your background. If you want to do the designing, then you should go into the Revit structure. Otherwise, architecture and structures comes, within one frame. So I think if you are doing the architecture, then you have to learn Revit structure as well. Otherwise, it won't be of any useful. But if unless until you want to go into the designing, then only you have to choose the Revit structure, so you can do the analysis and things like that with the help of Robo and STAT and things like that. Otherwise, if you are learning Revit, so learn both Revit architecture and Revit structure. Any question? Was that helpful?
Sir, can you please tell about Stat Pro and eTabs and some more software, sir?
Stat Pro and eTabs are designing software. You can analysis software that you can use for analyzing a building or structure. If you have the background of civil engineering, then you can use those software for if you want to go into the designing field, then you should choose those software. So eTabs and these Stat Pro do the analysis of any structure that you have built. So they will run the concrete analysis and the structural analysis, things like that.
Sir, what about Primavera software, sir? Can you please tell something about Primavera?
I haven't used Primavera software till now, so because I'm not into these designing kind of things, so I'm more into the BIM education.
Sir, there are few questions in chat box also.
Mhm.
So
MS project and the rest of the software. MS project you can use for project management and things like that. Drawing packages that we have covered, architecture structure that we've already covered. As I have already told that I don't have AutoCAD in my personal system, so I won't be able to import any CAD as of now. I can show you how you can import the CAD. So if you go to the manage tab, then or inside the manage links, go to the CAD formats and you can just link these, just import it. Go to the insert and import CAD. You can choose your files and import these CADs. Any more questions?
students, you can unmute yourself and ask any question directly to our expert.
Sir, if we get the certificate after learning Revit architecture,
Mhm.
what will be the benefits, sir? Like in future, what are the benefits that we are going to get?
If you have learned Revit software and you have experience of few of tools, then you can get an entry-level job in some good company, because everybody is looking for some experienced person. If you know something, so you can get a job in some good company as in GTE, graduate engineer training or something like that. So it will be beneficial for you if you know these things, because people are not investing into the training. The companies are not investing into the training things. So it's better if you have the knowledge, then it would be add on to your portfolio.
So what are the designations after the receive after learning
So
directly official?
if if you're starting your journey with Revit, so first you'll be working as a Revit modeler. So who will be working on these 3D models, will be creating these 3D models. And then after working 2 to 3 years or things like that, it depends on your your progress. So once you have you have gained this much experience, you can become BIM coordinator. Then after that you can become BIM manager, things like that. This is how a hierarchy works in this industry.